Welcome to today's topic. Today's topic is feeling suffocated. We'll observe both the sides of suffocation. If you are the one who is suffocating someone, and if you are the one who's feeling suffocated in some way. So then, just to begin the conversation, even as I put out the topic, somebody said to me, you've already covered the topic on being stuck. And so I said, yeah, okay, even if I have not covered any topic, it actually really doesn't matter, because no matter what the topic is, I only go down to the frequency. I drill down to the frequency. And then I say, Acha, I have only one thing to say again and again. Look within, and whatever it is coming up, keep your finger within. So even over here, it's going to be nothing different. But what I understand is sometimes when we are feeling suffocated or when we are feeling stuck in a situation, we might not be able to drill down on the actual feeling around it. So all that I do in these webinars is help you take a look at what feeling there might be. If you haven't been able to figure out the feeling, maybe you can explore some of the avenues that are going to open up through this conversation. So anyways, I don't think this is going to be a very long conversation, because we are getting down to drilling down to one. So firstly, let us begin with what is it that makes us suffocated. हम किसी भी relationship में हैं, and that relationship, it doesn't need to be something at home or something at work. We can feel suffocated at our workplace. We can feel suffocated, in the family circumstances. We can just feel that suffocation. What is causing that suffocation? You might put the finger outside. Oh, this person, they dictate too much. This person dictates too much. This person keeps me down. This person doesn't listen to me. There is no one who listens to me. I don't have any say in any matter, and you feel suffocated in that place, whether it's a workplace or a home place. Both of those are simply just stages, where you are there as an actor, but the actor right now is outside somebody, and you are in that story feeling suffocated. When we look at this word suffocation, let us say it is somebody at work who's constantly giving too many instructions and not listening to you. You have no say in the office matters or whatever. You are made to feel like a nobody, and then you start to feel suffocated. What is it that you will do over there? You will begin to look out for another job. You'll be like, oh, this place doesn't work for me. This place is so bad. They don't have this, they don't have that. And then, because it's a job, hopefully soon enough, you will be able to find another job. Well, that's okay. But everything that you've collected, and you collect through these experiences, if we haven't looked at the experiences itself, they might happen in another place in another way. It's not necessary that if you were feeling stuck in a job, now the next time it also has to come through as a job only. It might be in another situation where you feel clamped down and you feel like you don't have the freedom. Freedom, that is the main underlying sense of being under this suffocation. Whenever somebody outside takes away your freedom, free being your true nature. We are energy. We are meant to be free. In this body, we have come to experience some limitations, but when from outside, the number of limitations on us get too high, when somebody is constantly putting some limitations on us, that is simply our freedom wanting to bubble up and to experience itself. The freedom in any place is all about us experiencing the free being that we are. That's our true nature, because our true nature is not what we subscribe to, saying that, oh, the body, me as a body, I'm very stubborn, I'm lazy, I'm this, I'm that. No, the true nature of ours belongs to the energies. And because we are energy, 99% energy, and that freedom is our true nature. So when somebody is pushing us down and limiting us even more and more, we begin to feel this suffocation. And from this suffocation so many times becomes a catalyst for us to act up and to go back to our free self again. Now, as we look at our suffocation and why are we in the suffocation when the outside person is doing something to us, again, taking the example of being in a job, somebody is pushing us and limiting us and not taking, not giving any value to us and suffocating us. And yet we continue to stick around there. And look at the one main reason why we wouldn't move. That one main reason is fear. Fear. Right now, your fear would be playing on, oh my God, if I leave from here, what will happen to me? Take a case of if you are in a suffocating relationship. No matter what the outside is, again, if you are feeling the suffocation in a relationship, it would be the same thing, that your true nature has come to express itself and you are fearful. The fear is keeping you in the place you are, but your true nature, fearlessness and being in the energy, completely free. The freedom is only stopped. The freedom is only brought to a tiny little place when you are sitting in the fear frequency. In the fear frequency, when you think about anything, whether you think about your future, you think about the relationship, everything is going to help you experience more fear. And so the first thing, if you are feeling that suffocation within you, if you're feeling that you're not being able to fly as much as you like to, firstly, take a look at the fear frequency. You are in the place where you are because of fear frequency. You are here because you cannot envisage, you cannot think of yourself being free. Something stops you, whether it's whether it's the future, it's not going to look good, or this relationship, I can't leave this relationship. This person will kill me if I leave the relationship. So many times people come to me and say, I'm really, really tired of this relationship. And I say, what stops you from leaving? He says, no. If I leave, this person is not going to let me live only. They will kill me. And guess what? A few months later, a few years later, because they worked on their fear, they were able to leave that relationship because they worked on their fear. I always also remind you that it's not about whether you can leave today or you can't. You can. But if you're going to work on your energies of fear, the ones which have kept you here in the first place, then that leaving is going to bring you a different outcome. If you sit in the frequency of fear, the outcome is going to be fear only. So simply not just taking the first action that comes by, oh, Meenal said, okay, we can leave because, there's no point in sitting in fear. Yes, you can leave. There is no point in sitting in fear, but you haven't released your fear. If you are going to firstly release your fear, only then an outcome outside will manifest, which will not come from the place of fear that you are currently sitting in. So simply being able to release the fear towards that person. As I was talking about this real example, somebody who came to me and said, can't leave because this person has threatened me that if I leave, they're going to kill me. It's been about 2 years now, and nobody has gotten killed in the process because they first worked on their fear and they stayed in, but this time they were staying in, looking within. When we look outside, we can always blame someone, but always to remember that whatever is playing out in the story is our energy, and our energy constantly wants to move forward. Move forward on what journey? It's the same journey for all of us, to become less of the body, to look more within and become more of the energy, to look less at the separation, look more within and come more into oneness, to be looking less through the outside two eyes and looking more within and looking through the third eye, where everything is being created by us. It is our energy that is creating the entire universe around. So blaming is easy. It also puts us in a great place to experience helplessness. The helplessness, the powerlessness that comes with feeling suffocated. That helplessness, whose frequency is it that is creating all of this? It's your frequency. Then we want to, We are feeling suffocated, but we are so scared of experiencing the other side that we begin to cling to the person more and more. We begin to cling. We want to do things for the person. We want to do, something that will make the relationship work. If you don't have a relationship with yourself, if you don't have a loving relationship with yourself, outside relationships cannot give you what you're looking for. If you are looking for love, there is only one person that can give that love to you. Everybody else can only reflect it back at you. So if you haven't loved yourself fully, or if your love towards yourself is so conditional, but you want to be able to love the world, you want to be able to love that person so that the other person doesn't leave, so that the other person treats you better, so that the relationship becomes less suffocating. Not going to happen. It's not going to happen because it's not about the outside person. It's about you and how you are treating yourself. So when you are feeling suffocated in any place, firstly, to be able to look at all the fears that you are right now holding, all the limiting programs and beliefs that stop you from changing that situation. Firstly, just looking at the fear and being able to release it. And the second part is to give yourself love, to give yourself love, because who is that other person that is suffocating you? That is nobody else but you only. There is no other outside person. It is that part of you that wants you to experience more of your freedom, that they are creating. It's your energy that's creating this space. It's pushing you. It's pushing you to experience your true self. That's how our energy always works. It creates these outside dramas and outside stages. And we begin to look at the outside stage and curse it and not be able to look within. And we begin to feel that, okay, if this wasn't the case, if the person wasn't like this, things would be better. If this wasn't the case, things would be better. And we create all kinds of logic for us. If the person didn't have this other fellow who was poisoning their mind, my relationship with this person should be so much better. But again, nobody else, there is no one else, the person who's not listening to you, the person who's poisoning their mind, the entire stage that seems to be working against you, it's all your energy. The point over here is not to actually blame. The other side is true. When you think of it as all your energy, oh my God, if it's all of it is my energy, what the hell happened? What went wrong? Why is my energy so bad? Well, it's also the same energy that's brought you over here. You're listening to this entire session on self-love and what self-love means, to be able to love yourself unconditionally. So if it's the same energy that's creating that stage and the same energy that's also bringing you these beautiful answers, then it's all about the energy creating the pathway for you to find your own true free self. It's all about the energy pathway, and we don't understand the pathway, but whatever is right for us, whatever is necessary for us, the energy knows. Our energy frequency, that is our guidance, it's our frequency only, but it sits in a place which is not divided by this separation. The frequency of guidance sits in the heart, and that leads us towards guidance. And that's where we will be able to find all the answers within and not outside with somebody else. So now going on to this place of, well, if any of you have questions, please write on the chat and we will be able to take them, along as well. Now going on to the place where you are the one who is suffocating someone. You might not even realize it, that you are suffocating someone, because if you are so heavy on somebody that they're always listening to you, they're always doing what you want to do because you have said so, you might even not realize that you're suffocating someone. But the place to look in would be, are you scared? Are you so insecure? If you feel insecure, look at yourself fully within, with no judgments towards the self. Oh, I'm not this person because, no, What Meena is saying, no, I am not that person. Well, if you are so scared of losing somebody, or forget that, if you are scared to lose your power in a two-way relationship, whether it's at office or at home or any other relationship, if you are always wanting to be in the place of control, that control comes from a lot of fear and insecurity. If you're always wanting to be right, if you're throwing tantrums that, when you are not heard, then you can't deal with it, and you are throwing tantrums. And again, to even acknowledge that you are throwing tantrums might not be something that you would be able to do, because it almost sounds like, when we are throwing tantrums in our minds, it's totally the right thing because we are right and the other person is wrong. And so we have a right to make our point and make everything be heard. Underneath all of this, if you have any of these strong urges to always be right, it's highly likely that you're suffocating someone out there. If you have this strong urge to always be in the winning position, no matter what the game is, if you always want to be in that winning position, my stuff got done. I was the one who was proved right in the end. If you are looking to always prove yourself right, you are wanting to control the outside outcome so that you come out shining, well, the chances are that you are out there suffocating someone. Underneath that, underneath this behavior of yours, where you always want to be right, where you always want to be controlling, is deep insecurity. Who is the fear of? It's the fear of losing control over life. You think you have control over life. You think you have control over your life. You think you have control over your children's life. You might be, that big boss at home. When you say no, it means no. And nobody else can argue because you have said no. If that's the place that you come from, and it might be that everybody is simply following the line and doing whatever it is that you ask them to do, however, you are the one that is suffocating somebody out there. Does it matter? Well, till the time you are going to win, does it even matter whether you're suffocating somebody or not? It does, only because your fears that are underneath this whole charade that we have outside, your fears are the one that are going to carve out your life. It doesn't matter. All those people, the people who are put together in a play, they're all perfectly suited and matched. On that side, there is fear playing. And on your side too, there is fear playing. The fear could be about two different things. You are wanting to take control, and that's what the fear is all about. And their fear is all about what will they do without this, without this support, without these crutches that they're holding on to, and all of that. So the fear exists over there and fear exists over here. And this makes for a beautiful frequency match. But is that really the place from where you want to manifest the rest of your life? Because your fears, if you don't look at them, if you don't address them, feeling happy that, okay, everybody already listens to me, why do I even need to do anything? If they are unhappy, it's their problem. I am happy. Well, it's not real happiness, because happiness of this kind is based on fear of controlling the outcome. That's where you are sitting. Do we really control any outcome? We can't. No matter how much we try to make our children's life go in one certain way, sooner or later, they will show to us as actors that we can't control them. No matter whose life we think that we are responsible for, and therefore we can do whatever we want with it. The more we sit in that, the more we are sitting and deepening our own insecurities and fears. And then we cling, even we, the ones who are also, on the other side, the ones who are suffocating others, they will cling. What will they cling to? They will cling to their wins. They will cling to those little battles and make them all about their ego. So they are clinging to the ego. But you know what? The ego is simply your identity of this body. And if your identity is steeped so much in fear, that ego is going to constantly experience fear and more fear. So even if you understand today by listening to this, if you can identify with some of those characteristics of, are you being possessive? Are you too possessive? Do you not let people have a little bit of their free will? Do you not give in? If you are sitting in that space, then you are the one who's probably suffocating somebody outside. And if that is so, take a look at your own frequency. That unhappiness that is being created in this pot, on this side and that side, that unhappiness belongs to every actor if you haven't looked at it. Even if you're winning each time, the unhappiness frequencies that are playing around so much in your environment are bound to, if you're not aware, they are bound to show up again and again in some way or another. You won't be feeling light. When we flow, when we experience freedom, we feel light. When does that happen? When we let go of our fears, when we let go of the controls, when we let go of wanting to have a certain outcome through each and every part of our life, then we flow. And the experience becomes for us much more of lightfulness. We feel light more times rather than even outside, even if you are winning the entire game, that responsibility, that burden that you feel of constantly winning every battle is going to get you more and more bogged down. And bogged down feels heavy. It doesn't feel light and free and flowing. So observe yourself if at any place you are feeling suffocated or you are suffocating someone. At all the places, well, if you're feeling suffocated, helplessness, powerlessness, and underneath all of that, a lot of fear. If you are the one that is suffocating, then again, it's all about fear. But this time, the fear is of losing control, of wanting to have the power to control all the outcomes, and fearful of losing. We have no power. The sooner we accept that, the more light our energies are going to be. We have no power because guess where the real power is? The power is with our frequencies. And if your frequency is of fear, that's the frequency that will play out more and more for you. So that's about the end of my conversation on feeling suffocated. Let's take a look at, if you had the knowing that you have now, how would you deal with the suffocating marriage you had in the past? I do feel suffocated at home at times, but that has also led me to oneness. And then when separation happens, I again feel suffocated and then look again within as you guide. So the need to change outside has partially gone, but I've identified fear and lack, as you said. So see, if you've already identified, that's where the story is. Because when I was dealing with the first marriage, that where I felt so suffocated, and it was totally the freedom, that the fear of losing my freedom, the fear of losing my freedom, because outside were a lot of rules that were being put out for me. And I didn't want to subscribe to any of those rules. And there's this entire webinar I have on rules and breaking rules, because I've been one of those. You give me a rule, and then immediately my pathway will begin as to, okay, how can I break this rule? I need to break this rule. I want to break this rule. And the whole underlying was my fear to lose my freedom. As if, so if I was in that aware space, then I would have actually released the fear of losing my freedom, because freedom is something that is within. It's not outside. Unless you've put it out on a platter, then nobody can take it away from you and nobody can give it to you. The freedom, that free being that you are, everyone is that. Everyone is energy and everyone is a free being. But when we look at the outside and the eyes are outside, then we begin to kind of, be in part of these stories, be part of these stories which say, oh, the freedom, they are taking my freedom away. This one is taking my freedom away. That is not letting me operate from that place of joy that I would want to operate from. The freedom, I was just really fearful of losing my freedom. If it was this today, I would have simply released my fears. That's all. That's all that I needed to do. But because I had that fear, it was inherent in me. I must have, picked it up and brought it with me, that it was there with me. It was there with me in so many different ways. It even played out before, I was even married, because when I was at home, money was a father who ran like the whole household in a very dictatorial manner. And it was like, when I was in the house and I was feeling totally like, oh my God, like I always have to say yes to whatever he says, and if I want to go out and party, this is fun, because if I wanted to go out and party, and his answer would always be no. And I actually tell people I'm partying all the way up to now so much only because I got to hear all of those no's in that time. But again, in those days, today, when I look back at everything, it was my energy. It was my energy that brought me into such a place, that put me into that house where this father would be somebody who would, and then this father, we also had to, understand, because no matter what he said, if he said don't go, and if I went anywhere, because everything that came out from his mouth was such a guided place, that if he said no and I went somewhere, the work wouldn't be done only. If he has said don't go. So it was a very, very powerful combination of not just somebody, saying don't do this and do that, and don't do that and do this. It wasn't just that, it was also that if it came out of their mouth, it was bloody channeled stuff. So we were all, if anytime he said no, we would always just drop and say, like, ab to mana ho gaya, now what is even the point of doing something like that? And then feel suffocated in that space, because I didn't have the freedom, or I thought I didn't have the freedom to do what I wanted to do. And so there you go. So when again I have the same kind of energy, what will happen? I move from one house to the next, and the next house brings simply more of the same onto me. So if today I was that person who knew all about the energies, I would simply release this fear of losing my freedom, because there is nothing outside that you can give your freedom to. It doesn't matter where you are. You could be behind prison bars and still feel free, because it's inside. That feeling is inside. But that feeling of joyfulness, the freedom that the energy holds, and the way the energy wants to flow for you. Here's the paradox, because if you hold that freedom so much in your energy, can't go into jail, can't have something like this happen to you, only because there is so much of freedom within. So that's how it is, that the inside always plays the outside. For me, that inside must have been that I was very possessive of my own freedom. I was very protective of my own freedom. When you're protective towards something, you are operating from fear on that topic. And so, yeah, that's the answer. What I would do would simply release the fears of somebody taking my freedom away. Everyday decisions, whatever it is that, and somebody is bringing a decision to me and hasn't asked me, can I do this or can I not do this? And if that bothers me, that, oh, nobody asked me and they just took the decision and I haven't been asked, I will simply work on that second point that I just made. I love myself. To give yourself self-love, because that is where it's gone missing. So the lack that you talk about, the lack is of self-love more than anything else. And that will constantly create these situations of feeling suffocated. Suffocated is not that the other person is suffocating you. It is you that is suffocating you. I hope I managed to give an answer to that. Okay. Wonderful. So I have same home situation, but again, if that is the case, that you have a similar home situation, if you are not able to understand what it is your fear, it is your lack. The work is not outside. And again, when we think that, when somebody says to me, like, if I do something like this or whatever, meri naak kat jayegi. And I say, don't put your naak on the platter. Don't put it out there so that it can be cut or not cut or whatever. It's not this is a transaction you are creating. It doesn't have to be part of the transaction. So even this, if you do this, your freedom is lost. When people do this, when I have to follow what people say, my freedom is lost. Don't put your freedom out there on sale, and it won't be taken away. All right. So that's where the topic on feeling suffocated. The suffocation is so much from separation, and that separation is all bound under fear. Normally, when restrictions are put on a child by a parent, the child feels suffocating. That's a very, I didn't look at this part, right? Or maybe I did. I can't remember what just came out of my mouth. When you are the one who's suffocating someone, when you are the one who is suffocating someone, and you become aware that you are suffocating someone, what you should do? What should you do? Release your fears. Release your fears about the child. And that's all there is that is making you, behave in such a way. Whatever is their energy, they are here to feel this lack of freedom as well. They are here to, say that, experience their lack of self-love through you. So yeah, dad doesn't care for us, mom doesn't do this, dad doesn't do that, all of that stuff. They are here building their experiences. But if you have already recognized in the middle of all of this that indeed you are suffocating somebody because of your fears, please go back to what I just said. If you recognize that you are suffocating somebody, if the child is just saying that you are suffocating me, then the question is different. The question would be, firstly, what am I feeling? If somebody tells you that you are suffocating them, then the question on you is, when they tell you that they are getting suffocated, what are you feeling? Are you feeling hurt that you wanted to do so much and you are doing so much for them, and they just have this to say for you and all of your efforts and all of that? If that is the case and you're sitting in hurt, then you need to look at the hurt and the expectations and the attachments. However, if you didn't realize that you're suffocating and now you recognize that, yes, indeed, you are suffocating, it's only because of the fears that you hold. And you think that by giving them this instruction and that instruction and stopping them from doing this and stopping from doing that, you are going to be able to change their life path, their energy. So not happening. So whatever it is that you do, keep looking within. If you're trying to control their life and trying to make things happen for them, and that's a fear that if you don't exercise so much control, they will be going to the dogs, then that's your fear and you have to work on them. In a normal case, in a normal day-to-day life, 20 things we tell our children to do, and our children will tell us to do 20 other things back. But it doesn't hold fear if you're just simply flowing with it. Can you get me a cup of tea? Can you get me a cup of tea? The answer can go both ways, and there is no thought put to it, and the job gets done without using too much of your mind. But when you're looking at somebody as your child and taking on the entire responsibility, does the responsibility really belong to you? Can you really do anything? The only thing that you can do, the one thing that you can do is send them love. And love is not about doing things for anybody. Love is simply recognizing that just as I am a billion-year-old energy, so are you. Just as I have my energy field, so you have it as well. Just as my energy field is making my path through this life, your energy field is making your path through this life. I don't control you. And that's where unconditional love is. I don't control you. For you to accept and acknowledge that you have no control. You don't even have control of your own life. How can you have control over somebody else's? Do you really know if after about 1.5 hours, you're still going to be breathing? No, we don't know that. So we have no control because our energy is making all of this happen, and their energy is making all of that happen. So if they're saying things to you like that, well, chances are that you're not really suffocating them, because when you're truly suffocating somebody, then they won't come and tell you. Right now, I think the play over here might be more of your other emotions, which is if you are feeling hurt, if you are feeling sad about, the way things are and nobody gives you love and all of that, the time is to look within and to ask yourself, what am I feeling? And then to be able to look at those emotions and to release them. Yes, Asha, tell us, what's your question?
My question is whatever I've understood from today's conversation, that fear, see, when I look at the fear for any suffocating feeling, then immediately now, the way the things are happening within me, I always feel that I'm a fearless person.
Perfect.
So that fearlessness of my soul frequency immediately remove those fears. And I feel I'm free, I'm in freedom, I'm fearless. So why should I worry? Everything is written in whatever is to happen.
So you're doing the work in the energy, yes. So what's the question?
No, this is right or not, that is what I wanted to do.
Right or not? You want me to take a judgment on your inner work?
No. I'm doing it. Is the process is okay or not?
That's exactly what you're asking, that I should take a judgment on what your inner work is. You're asking me to make a judgment on, this is a judgment,
no,
right? I'll tell you this is wrong. I'll tell you this is right. This is a judgment you're asking from me.
Then I just continue.
You're asking, is this right or wrong itself?
No, what I need is guidance. I need your guidance.
No, darling, you don't need guidance. You're sitting in the frequency of doubt. After you are doing your inner work, you're moving into the frequency of doubt. So what will you do with the frequency of doubt?
I'll remove that doubt.
That's it. Finish. I don't have to take a judgment because there's nothing right and wrong. There's no right choice. There's no wrong choice. And then you're asking me to say, okay, whether this part of you is right or this part of you is wrong. I have zero understanding of what you're wanting me to do. Wonderful. Somebody's asking me a question and they say, okay, how do you do what you need to do as a parent without making your child feel suffocated? Without making your child feel suffocated, how do you need to do? I just answered that. Because in a day, you do so many things without thinking. They just happen. Whatever decision needs to be made just happens, right? And then you start to think about, I need to do this because this is better for my child. And the child doesn't want to do this, but this is the right answer because this is how I understand life to be, because this is the right thing to do. Whatever it is that you are sitting in, without a child feeling suffocated, there is no child. The child is just as many billion years old as you are. The child has as much energy field as you have. When you are in the role of an actor, whatever it is that you do as an actor for that person, you are simply an actor. You are not the deciding factor. You can do whatever you want. You are simply an actor. You are not the deciding factor. No matter how old the child could be 4, but if their energy is asking for something, and the child is only 4 and you make decisions towards something else, automatically their energy will reject and bring something else to them, because the energy is going to move as per the experiences that they have decided to have. What you feel about their experiences, what you don't feel about their experiences are your story. As you look at somebody and you are feeling highly fearful of where their life is going, or you are feeling extremely anxious about how you should change this and change that, and they should change this and change that, it's your fear and your anxiety. How should I do something so that it appears something like that to somebody else? That's your question. I don't deal with that, because I simply deal with, you work on your energy and outside will take care of itself from your energy. If you are sitting in the frequency of joy, your outside will become more joyful, irrespective of what you just told the child. You want me to give, a process so that you can do what you want, but the child shouldn't feel suffocated. Can you imagine how much wanting to control lies in this statement itself? Wanting to control that other person's life. That's called being suffocating. We just talked about that when you want to control somebody else's life to whatever extent you want to, then if you go to the extreme, then that will be the suffocating person that you would be. But by saying that, oh, I don't want to appear, I don't want the child to feel that they are being suffocated, but I want to do what I want to do as a parent. Well, it's simply that you are wanting to control. You are wanting to control. And that's why I said nothing that you can do to control your own life, forget somebody else's. Your energy is all that I teach to look within. If you are wanting to control something so much, then take a look at all your fears. Take a look at all your insecurities. Take a look at all your lack. Because that outside person that you think you need to control, that child of yours that you think you need to control, is going to show you even more lack within yourself, because that's your energy and that fellow is the actor. Okay, everyone, just a deep breath in and exhale. A deep breath in and exhale. And in this moment, just simply closing your eyes a little bit more, a little bit tighter, to be able to experience just as much darkness as we can. If you wish to, you can even cup your eyes and sit in darkness. Darkness. And as you take your next breath in, experiencing this complete silence of the darkness. As you close your eyes tightly, a little bit more tightly, experiencing this beautiful darkness, and observe the word darkness. What emotion does darkness bring to you? Are you afraid of being in the dark? If so, observe your fear. And as you sit in this darkness a little bit more, take yourself back to the one place where you felt so secure, and it was completely dark. Take yourself back to the womb when you were in the womb. Completely dark. There is no light in that womb. And yet, so amazingly secure and fearless you are as you experience this dark all around you. Be as you were in the mother's womb. You're enveloped in darkness, and that darkness is beautiful. It's your space. And it's only your space. And so, feeling the beauty of this darkness. And now, taking yourself back further and further in the energies, into the universe, and the universe, mostly dark. You are the light, but the universe is all dark. It's dark and it's beautiful. And you're a tiny little dot of light in that dark universe. You can't see your light, but you can see the darkness around you. And the darkness is beautiful. And you own this darkness without fear, without any fear. Understanding that this is the whole part. This is the whole part of you. And there's a tiny little part of this, which is the light. And you are dark and you are light. You are the darkness. You are the darkness in and around you. Whatever aspects of yourself that you find dark, in this moment, simply letting go of the fear of dark. The dark is wrong. The dark is bad. The dark will be punished. None of these. The dark is as much you as the light is. And so, simply letting go of your judgment of light or dark. The you that is energy is beautifully dark. The outside no longer making you afraid. I accept my darkness. I accept my darkness. I am not just the sun, the moon, and the stars. I am the night as well. I am the night. I'm those deepest parts of the ocean where the light can't come. I am that too. And I am beautiful. Every part of me is beautiful. Letting go of any fear to do with darkness. In this moment, simply being your dark self. Accepting all the dark parts of each and every one around you. There is nothing outside but reflections of yourself. And you are light and you are dark. Sitting in complete acceptance of the self. I accept myself as I am, who I am, in every which way, in every color, and with no color as well. If any of you are still afraid of the dark, simply in the dark, hug yourself. You always know how to hug yourself, whether in light or in dark. So hug yourself and remind yourself, you are all. I am light and I am dark. I am everything there is. And the darkness is that one space which makes everything into oneness. How beautiful is that space where, when it's so dark, you can't judge one shape from another. You can't judge one color from another. You can't judge one being from another when it is dark. And so dark is oneness. Accepting the oneness, allowing the oneness, allowing the dark to be you. Om Mani, Om Mani, Om Mani. Okay, everyone, lots and lots of love.